Hey guys, it's Jimmy Bremner with CTOA and I'm at TACCOM 2023. Let's go inside. Hey guys, it's Jimmy Bremner, Copcast, CTOA, and I'm at TACCOM 2023. And as I walk the show, everybody's saying you have to see Amanda. You have to see Amanda. So I searched and I found Amanda Lynn, that hunting girl. And it's a unique story. So just tell me, like, how did you get involved in hunting? And I understand you have a line of clothing, a television program. How did all this start?
Oh boy. So born and raised in Northern Ontario,
Whereabouts?
in Manitouwadge,
Okay, all right.
which is,
Yeah.
very remote, 2,000 people. And my dad would just take me out in the bush and take me hunting. And just all started there. And it just snowballed from there and got interested in firearms, got more interested in hunting. That was how he fed us most of the time, was grouse, moose, bear. And as I grew up, and I loved it. I got more excited about it. I wanted to go out. I wanted to learn more. And then I had children.
Right.
And I have 3 boys. So I raised them the same way. And I mean,
So how did we, go from it being a way of life into what you do for a living?
oh my goodness. It's quite a little bit of a long story, but I will try to compress it. I moved to Southern Ontario to further my fitness. So I was a bodybuilder. So being a bodybuilder back then and being in fitness, you're automatically into the media. There was photo shoots and all those sorts of things. And I started a fitness magazine. So when I started a fitness magazine, I became friends with a gentleman, Patrick Walsh, who's senior editor of Outdoor Canada magazine.
Oh.
So we became friends on Facebook back in the day, and I would post my adventures of hunting, but I would also talk about my fitness magazine, and then him and I bashed some ideas back and forth together. And they did an Outdoor Canada show in 2011 and asked me to be a woman on a women's panel talking about hunting in the outdoors. So I joined 3 other women on the panel, and we got to talk about our history and our heritage and how we became who we are today. And from there, it absolutely snowballed into everything that it is today. So I began with Bass Pro. I was a representative or an ambassador of Bass Pro, and then turned into Cabela's. And I was working at Shooter's Choice. I was found behind the gun counter. Girls were recognizing that I was behind the gun counter. They would come into the store and they would ask me about firearms because they were comfortable talking to a female.
Right.
So I had the opportunity to help young women get into hunting in that way. And then they wanted me to take them shooting. So that developed Range Days, which was my very first event. Range Days then turned into Take Me Hunting and Take Me Fishing and Take Me Off-Roading. And then Wild TV approached me at SHOT Show in 2016 and said, hey, we're doing this new series called Canada Hunts, and we want a female representative in the TV show. And I was like, well, no. And they're like, well, all you have to do is just hunt. And so I had already created my incorporation called Just Hunt a couple years before that. And so I said yes, and I agreed to that. And we did 3 episodes the first year, and one of them was Range Days. So filming Range Days and then filming another episode on Take Me Hunting. So showcasing other women getting out there and never doing it before started inspiring the viewers. So then the next year we did the same thing, and then it blew into a full-blown series of Just Hunt. And then I switched networks and went to Sportsman Channel and rebranded That Hunting Girl. And and now, I mean, I've always been into clothing, so I love designing clothes.
You have some really nice items in the booth there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's the television show encompasses everything that I do, from the clothing line to Range Days to teaching women how to hunt and kids, fishing, off-roading, hunting. And the biggest thing is conservation and sustainability.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So learning how to go out there and harvest your animals, process them, you know, and be able to take it home, cook it, share it.
Do you
feed your
think
friends
people
and family.
are looking to be more self-reliant?
I think that, yes, over the last couple of years, I've had an increase in messages and emails from more women than before. And I've been doing this since since 2011. The increase in women and even men wanting to learn how to hunt to provide for their families because they don't feel, some of them say they don't feel safe actually grocery shopping
Interesting.
because there's recalls on certain things.
There is. Yeah.
So there's that point. And then others just want to be able to bond with their families,
Right.
teach their children the way of life on how I was raised,
Right.
and to be able to just fend for themselves.
Yeah, again, it's a fascinating story. And I think, I mean, I spent a lot of time as a firearms instructor, but I think sometimes men are the biggest barrier to women getting involved in shooting sports because, you know, men can have a way of coming across, unapproachable, perhaps is the word to describe it.
It
But
can
I
be
think
a
it's
little
great that
intimidating.
you're that conduit that women can get involved in shooting sports.
And the thing with range days, we don't just like throw a gun in your hands and say
No.
go shoot.
Yeah.
Like we will actually take apart a Remington 870,
Yep.
show you the guts of it,
Yep.
show you how it works, put it back together, and once you do that, the girls automatically feel way more confident and less intimidated because they know how it works.
In my experience, when I have females on the range, they actually listen to instructions better than
They do.
men.
They do.
So that's, I've noticed that over many years. And again, it's different, but I think it's great that you're, that conduit that people can get involved, and it's not as intimidating, and you're approachable and setting an example. I think again, it's a very unique story that you have
Thank you.
here at the TACCOM 2023. So where do people get a hold of you if they want to go on one of these adventures?
Well, justhunt.ca is the easiest way, but I'm on every platform. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Amanda Lynn Mayhew. Just Google it, and I'm always available to chat.
Well, thank you very much for chatting with us this afternoon. And again, Amanda Lynn, that hunting girl. And thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So that's Jimmy Bremner, CTOA. I'm out.
Hi, Carl at TACCOM 2023. We're here at the Tactical Solutions Body Armor.
Hi,
And here's Arthur.
I'm Arthur
and
from AI Tactical Solutions.
Arthur, tell us about your inventive new
So-
body armor.
Essentially, we produce everything. So we've been in production now for about 8 or 9 months. The big thing that we've unveiled this year is our new flexible armor. It's a little hard to show with one hand, but I'm sure Carl can give me a hand and show how that it's willing to bend. So you can see that in comparison to a standard hard plate. So the whole benefit of this is you actually have armor that can fit both genders equally, adds more comfort. It's also a little bit lighter. We have options for that. And yeah, so that's what we're proud to show off this year. We have a bunch of other stuff, but it seems that's been what's really been the star of the show.
And currently it's going through your own in-house testing and independent testing.
So it's already been through our own in-house testing, I think 5 or 6 rounds of it. We've tested it with NTS Labs in Wichita several times. We've actually tested this when worn. I'm just going to wait for that. When worn with a 3A soft panel. This is actually an ICW level 4 with something like 12 millimeters of backface deformation.
That's very good indeed.
So we're actually working on this. We're sending a bunch of samples out currently to the Directorate of Soldier Systems, which is part of the DND. So they're looking into this for the new armor system for male and female soldiers moving forward for Canada.
That's very good indeed. Are you allowed to tell me what composition is of
Well,
materials?
so we have 2 options. So the ceramic, we have 2 different types of ceramic we use. So we use silicon carbide for the standard one. It's more affordable because let's be honest, retail price, these are about $550 a pair. And a boron carbide, which is a lot lighter, you're looking at $1,800, $1,600 a pair. So you save a lot of weight, but it is costly. And then for the actual soft aspect of it, it's a blend of different composites to get this to actually resist backface deformation and to stop the threat.
Well, it's always been the case that lighter armor is more expensive.
Yeah. What actually blows my mind actually being in this, it's not just, oh, I save 20% of the weight. I'm going to have 20% more cost. To save 20% of the weight, you have 3 times the cost. So
And how long has Tactical Solutions been going?
So we've been around for about 5 years. We've been doing full-on manufacturing, I think, for probably 2 or 3 years, and we've had only our own ballistic plates for the last 8 or 9 months.
Oh, it shows promise.
Oh, well, we're hoping.
I hope it gets through.
Well, you know what? Chatting with you has been an absolute pleasure. You're a charming guy.
Oh, thank you.
And we love to have you by the booth. So,
Well, thanks very much, Arthur.
yeah, anytime.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Bremner, Canadian Tactical Officers Association Copcast. And again, I'm at TACCOM 2023, and I'm with my old friend Steve Goulet with Crusader Arms. And tell us all about Crusader and what's going on right now.
So we're here at TACCOM, debuting one of our new rifles. I won't call it a new rifle. It's our Templar rifle, but we've made some significant changes to it, lightening the weight of it, making it a little bit more user-friendly. We also have our new 308 rifle that's on the market now. It's a semi-automatic, non-restricted 308.
But good thing is they're not on the list.
Not on the list. No. Well, hopefully not on the list anytime soon either. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that a market advantage? I guess it would be.
For now, yes. For now, I'm sure there's some other manufacturers nipping at my heels, ready to, come out with something else. But for the time being, we do have the domestic market for the 308 rifle because there's not really a lot of competition in that space. There's a couple bullpups that exist, but if you don't like bullpups, then
yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, me neither. But some people really like them, but it's not my cup of tea. So for the time being, we actually have the market for this rifle. So hopefully we can keep it for a little while.
Right. And it's all manufactured in Canada?
Yeah, all manufactured in Windsor, Ontario. We don't make some of the plastic things. We buy those. And triggers are, for the 308 specifically, only comes with the Trigger Tech triggers. That's Canadian made as well. We try to get as much Canadian product as possible in manufacturing, support local as much as we can, because the industry in a whole is kind of hurting right now. We've lost a lot of business.
No question. I mean, but we talked earlier, and what you're saying is that what a lot of people don't think about is you have to, like, when you manufacture components, some of those have to be sent to heat treating. There's a shipper receiver, there's a whole chain of people when you basically grind an industry to a halt. It affects so many other.
Yeah, even as far as Canada Post, they come to my shop every day to pick stuff up to ship somewhere. Maybe if I didn't exist, someone would lose their job in Canada Post. Maybe there just wouldn't be enough business for them. I mean, it is cyclical. The whole thing affects something else, right? Like even to the guy at the heat treating place, if he didn't have my business, maybe he goes out of business. I don't know. Like I'm not sure how it affects everybody, but there is a lot of, like, even cardboard. Like, we get cardboard boxes made locally. Like, somebody has to make those things. Like,
yeah, it's funny that people don't consider that chain in business. How one small thing, you take one piece out and it affects everything else.
Exactly.
Right?
So when we talk about, economy and all these things and how we're going to help Canadians and grow, like, coming after an entire industry that literally won't affect crime. Like, we know this, there's been enough.
Chiefs of police have agreed on that.
No one's arguing that. Like, I don't understand. The only people arguing it are the government saying, no, it'll help with crime. But everybody who's in law enforcement or has any sort of comprehension of what's happening is we're not the problem.
Right.
So to hurt the economy for nothing makes zero sense, right? I would rather you take that money and give it to law enforcement. Maybe they can help combat crime a little bit, right?
Interesting perspective.
Right. So the more things I sell, the more taxes it generates, the more tax money that could be spent on law enforcement.
Yeah.
But instead you take it away and lose a revenue stream as a government. As a business, that makes zero sense.
Well, the government's not in business. Right? So
it should be run like one if you think about it, right? Like if I was the government, I'd just, I'll just print more money. Well, as a business, I can't do that. I have to make money.
Right.
So I can't make stupid decisions.
So how does somebody get a hold of your product?
Well, we sell to almost every dealer. And if we don't sell to your store currently, just call us and we'll set you up as a dealer. We also do sell on our website. So you can go to Crusader Arms Company.ca. I believe that's, I hope that's the right one. That's our website, and you can just buy direct from us if you want.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Steve. I
no
appreciate you
problem.
reconnecting with you, and
It's good to see you again.
good to see you as always.
Awesome.
So it's Jimmy Brebner, CTOA, and I'm out.
Mitchell, tell me about the KRISS.
So, well, I'm from KRISS USA. So right here is we have the 6.5 inch vector platform. This one in particular is a 9mm. So what our platform is known for is the Super V mitigation system. So unlike any other firearms out there, instead of the bolt going straight back and forth in a linear fashion like your AR-15s or AK platforms, ours actually goes back and down. So normally, instead of the energy terminating in the stock, causing a pivot point, causing muzzle rise as you fire, ours has the energy thrown down and away from you, actually in your hands. Now, the benefit of that as well is it allows us to reconfigure the gun. So normally the bolt and everything has to go above the hand, and it has to therefore give clearance for the mechanism to work. With ours, since it goes down and away from you, it allows us to actually drop that barrel down. So now that barrel is actually in and behind your fist. So not only do you get the added benefits of the recoil mitigation system itself, you have your entire skeletal muscular behind it, because now the barrel and all the energy is directly in line with your arm and your fist. So that lets you get right behind the platform and keeps the gun extremely flat for all your consecutive shots.
Oh, excellent. Having tried and fired this myself from when it was first the TDI, which is the government variant. The government variant has a selector that allows you the capability of 1-shot, 2-shot burst, or full auto. It also comes 2.2, 9mm, and 45.
Actually, we also have 40 and 10mm as well.
As well?
Yeah, yeah. And they're all, and so our platform utilizes Glock magazines. So with ours, on the 9mm platform, it utilizes Glock 17 mags. So that allows you to interchange between the different platforms. So you can have one mag, multiple platforms, one setup for your rig. So guys that are in either the law enforcement military, they have one ammunition and one magazine setup. Competition, same thing, one ammunition, one magazine setup. That way you can utilize, well, it makes it actually a lot easier for you. You only have one thing to worry about, one type of ammo and one type of mag. Lets you then go across all the platforms and gives you a lot of flexibility that way. And you don't have to get a lot of, specific things for one specific gun.
Understood. Now, with the stock system, could you demonstrate how it folds and extends?
Yeah, so this is our new Gen 2 folding stock. It's designed to work with our Gen 2 uppers. With ours, you can actually flip the side folding. So right now it's set up to fold to the right, but you can actually rotate this and flip it to the left. And I'll show you that real quick here. Pressing the button allows you to go ahead and close it. Now this is in the right side configuration. All you gotta do then is go ahead and push the bolt button and you can flip it back. Now, if you wanted to flip the other way, just uninstall this, flip it over, and then it would fold the other direction. And then a really quick adjustment is a little trigger right here. Pull on that and you can extend that out if you really need to. But the benefit of having this platform is actually it can fire in this configuration for close body support, bodyguard protection, stuff like that. Guys will then fold it like this, tuck it under their jackets on the side if necessary, or patrol vehicles. It's a lot smaller, a lot more compact. Makes it a lot easier for those type of operations and those missions.
And the extended mags, what's the magazine capacity?
So it does utilize Glock magazines. So if you're talking about extended magazines, you can use the full-size 17-round magazines as is, or if you're talking about 9mm, the Glock 33-round mags will fit. But as KRISS USA, we also make Mag X kits that work for your standard magazines. So if you had a 17-round mag for 9mm, you can bump that all the way up to 40 rounds with our Mag X kit. 10mm goes all the way out to like 30 rounds, 45, all the way up to 30 rounds as well. So it gives you a lot more flexibility and usage on this. Also, those Mag X's actually work on anything that utilizes the Glock magazines as well. So you can use it for your Glock or any other platform that utilizes a Glock magazine.
Okay. And what about suppression?
So suppressors, obviously, that it all boils down to personal taste and preferences. Me, when I suppress stuff, I like to use it in the 45 platform since all the rounds are subsonic. It's all naturally ready to go. So in this configuration, like an Osprey is what a lot of guys like to use. I personally like to get the 5.5-inch barrel, put the Osprey on, and then throw a handguard right over it, giving you that like the MP5 SD look and feel, but more capability because you got that handguard in the front, giving you more space for accessories, lights, lasers, other mission essentials that you may need, but also the comfort for holding it out for guys like C-clamping, so they can therefore use their standard AR grips with this platform without compromising the use of it, basically.
And I know some people be interested in about how you charge the firearm and how you take it down as well.
Oh yeah, so this platform is real easy. What I like to do here. So to charge the firearm in one sweeping motion, you can actually use the palm of your hand right here to charge it and lock the bolt in one fluid motion. So you just kind of sweep, and then using the palm of your hand, the meaty part, you kind of just tuck and slide. That lets you lock the bolt and charge the firearm in one shot. Then at that point, you go ahead, drop another mag in, send that home, and you're ready to go. For lefties, what we would then do is rotate over, come over the top, charge, and push, and you will still lock that bolt for the left-hand user. In fact, then you can just go ahead and drop the mag and then insert another one. Come up, send the bolt home, and you're ready to go. So it's a very ambidextrous platform, very versatile for left or right shooters.
And with the Pincatina rail on top, optics are personal preference.
Optics are a personal preference. I prefer an EOTech myself. For these type of platforms, we're pretty much shooting that within that 200-meter range. So an EOTech will be more than adequate, but I've also done LPVOs for USPSA competitions, PCC competitions. We need a little bit more range. Also, my eyes are getting a little bit bad as I get older, so a little bit more range is always nice. But the way this platform works is once you have an optic set up on it and you've done your job to zero it, it's pretty much going to hit every single time you shoot it. At that point, it's pretty much on you as a shooter to make sure you have your fundamentals down and not swinging the gun around as it fires. So it's more accurate than me. That's what I always say.
I know some people will be asking, what's the effective range?
So effective range, I mean, I've sat at a range and I've pinged a target 200 yards with a 10mm iron sights, no problem. And generally when I do demos, we'll push it all the way out to the 100-yard mark. That's generally what our ranges are out in the States for outdoor ranges. But I've seen guys push this thing as far as the pistol cartridge is allowing you. So remember, you are shooting a pistol cartridge. You're not shooting a full rifle cartridge here, and you are shooting it in generally a shorter barrel too. So you're not getting the full velocity out of all the rounds because of that shorter barrel, but you're still very effective in that 200, 300-meter range. But most of the times you're talking even shorter because it is more of a...
So with a 9mm?
9mm, I've reached out to 200 yards. I've tagged a target, tagged the target out there, but it's just a matter of obviously, getting your angles in and knowing your sights and stuff.
And 45?
45, I've done it all. 200 yards, that's what we pinned the range at.
Okay.
So I can sit there, I could do it, but
it takes practice.
It just takes some practice. Yeah, like any other platform. When you start extending beyond what the cartridge is designed to do, it's at that point skill and practice. Of course.
Oh, thank you very much for that.
Of course.
So that's the KRISS Vector.
It's Jimmy Bremner at Copcast at TACCOM 2023, and I'm with my friend Corey of Mad Hatter Industries. Corey, tell us all about what you've done here and what the cause is behind it.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me, Jim.
Started. Oh, my pleasure.
So essentially what we are is a apparel brand, and our cause is about mental health initiatives. We originally started this as an aim to prevent suicide among our members, specifically military. I lost a few friends to suicide, and it became a mission after seeing a friend, and during the ceremony, the looks on the face of his family and loved ones, and listening to a sergeant talk about it, saying that what was that act was a commitment that was made, that was a full-time permanent solution to a temporary problem, being that PTSD and the issues that you face, the suicidal thoughts and tendencies, they can be worked on, and suicide isn't an option. It can be something.
Well, I deal, I've had my own dealings with PTSD, and it is a very difficult issue that's not well understood by those who don't suffer from it.
Yeah.
And so I think anything that we can do to, move things forward and help people out, I think this just is a wonderful cause.
And it's not an easy fix. It's not a one-time fix.
Oh no, it's a lifetime. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah.
So what we try to do is create a community. We specifically found with members getting out of the military, specifically during that transition, there was a period of increased risk to suicide and other problems that kind of they systemically arrive from different things that we do. For me, being in combat for 2 tours overseas, I tend to manifest that other ways through thrill seeking, seeking other ways to feel alive again, skydiving, scuba diving, riding motorcycles,
Understood.
which you see over there
Yep.
at extreme speeds. But the idea was to create a community to empower people and positively influence others around mental health resilience and initiatives, to advocate for professional help. But what we were was essentially an aid to all that. We like to think we're the coffee on the porch or that beer in the garage, just that extra help. We're there to do what we can. We know we can't do it all, and we're not a replacement for professional help.
Well, somebody told me that, you can lean on me, but I can't carry you.
Yeah.
Right? So there has to be some work done by the individual
100%.
to move themselves forward through the illness.
Yeah, and it isn't like a fixed amount. Like, we donate to different initiatives that we support, Veterans and Everyday Heroes being a specific one, where a fixed portion goes from every sale of their shirts to their charity. And there's other ones. Warrior Adventures Canada is a great one, as well as Wounded Warriors Canada. We just wrapped up the Walk for the Wounded last week. But there's quite a bit of different initiatives, and we also help within our community. Motorcycles and machine guns happens to be our niche because that's our passion.
Right.
Being on the teams with, Eric Chomiak, Peter Button, all those ex-Toronto officers teaching the ways of the Ninja Warrior.
Well.
Yeah, so we got into that, and I always loved being a pistol shooter. I love being on the teams, but now that I'm in the office, this has been a passion of mine. And you can see in the artwork the different designs here.
So tell me about the artwork. I understand you're responsible for some of it. And it's actually fantastic.
It's kind of hard to see some of the designs. We've had a really busy day with people coming and grabbing different designs here. But so I do sketching, and then I work with a professional graphic artist to manifest that idea and design that I sketch, to digitize it and professionalize it. Then we put it on a board and we silk screen it. So some of these designs are more direct about our mission, to lend a helping hand. That's pretty obvious about what we do. And then some are more subtle, like you see the Mad Doomer here. See a Space Marine chasing away his demons.
That reminds me of a very famous album cover.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so some of the influences are things I've done as a kid, like games I've played or things I've been through. Like, if you're going through a tough time, keep going. It's meant to motivate, help, and inspire. And that's kind of like our icon. You see an M, an H, and an I. Those are multi-duplicitous. So the M, H, and I stand for Mad Hatter Industries or mental health initiatives, or to motivate, help, and inspire.
Well thought out. Thought out. So where can people get a hold of this gear if they're not at the show? Do you have an online presence?
Yeah, so we're online. www.madhatterindustries.ca is our website. And if you look at Mad Hatter Industries, either on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, we're on all those social media, you'll see that icon. You'll be able to recognize and find your way. And we have a good group of individuals. We have about 30 or 40 members directly within our community that help others and do different initiatives. So we try to help where we can and do what we can.
You're not only at the firearms trade shows, but you're also at motorcycle events as well.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So you'll find us next to the Highway Heathens, next to Crooked Clubhouse, at a lot of motorcycle shows. We'll be back here at the January Super Show. This is actually our 4th time here this year.
Wow.
So we've had a busy year. I was on my captain's course in July, had a baby. Been a real busy year. So we do what we can, where we can, but it keeps
Corey,
me going.
Thanks so much. I really like what you're doing.
Thanks,
Keep up
Jim.
the great work.
For
and
sure.
If you're coming to the show one more day, drop by the booth tomorrow and speak to Corey.
Appreciate it.
That's
Thanks very
Jimmy,
much.
Yeah, Jimmy Bremner and Corey, we're out. Hey guys, it's Jimmy Bremner, CTOA. Again, we're at TACCOM 2023. And it's a pleasure to have Tracy from CCFR with us. And I understand you just got back from the Conservative Policy Convention in Quebec City.
That's right. So about 3,000 conservatives from across the country descended upon Quebec City. We discussed policy, we debated policy, and we voted on it. So the Conservative Party is a grassroots party. We have a vested interest in ensuring that the members are voting on policy that looks after the interests of gun owners and our entire community. So Rod and I were both there. I was a delegate for my EDA. We got to hear from the leader and, of course, network with all kinds of other like-minded individuals. So just a great, great event.
So, I mean, there are, again, you have firearms owners, but that said, some of them, they're not following, gun legislation.
Right.
So can you bring us up to speed on C21 and that type of thing where we are?
Well, it's actually been a really brutal 8 years for gun owners across the country. This is a very unfriendly Liberal government. I'm sure your listeners already know that. But we've been through multiple rounds of legislation. We've had C71. We've had the OIC May 2020 gun ban that banned AR-15s and 1,500 other models and varieties of firearms. We had C21, which is going through the legislative process right now. It's in the Senate at Committee for Study. And of course, within C21, the Liberals tried a sneaky move of including all kinds of hunting rifles and shotguns, which of course they had to withdraw those amendments in disgrace. So it's been a tough battle, tons of hits coming for gun owners. But I'm here to say that I actually think the political capital involved in gun legislation and gun bans, I think it's run its course. I think they're out of gas.
Well, again, when you talk about, the buyback issue, it's so costly even to administer that before they just, put the money out to buy back firearms. Is there anything that you have to say on that?
Yeah, so there was actually some work done on this, I think by the Laurier Institute, looking at the cost of implementing a gun ban. Now, the cost of, or the buyback program, the cost of actually purchasing those firearms from licensed legal firearm owners across the country would be significantly less than the cost of actually administering it. As if you think about it in terms of what would be involved, what does that process look like? You're going to need armed guards. You're going to need collection services. You're going to need secure facilities. You're going to need, a virtual army of people to guard that stuff and take care of it. It is virtually impossible. And I've said that right from day one. They can't do it.
Right. So we'll say that Mr. Poilievre becomes our next prime minister. Are we hopeful that he'll carry through with the promises that he's made?
I mean, I've always said with politics, there is no politician that's the cure. Unfortunately, they're the cancer. But yeah, I'm a little more than hopeful. In fact, last night, it's not the first time that we've heard it from Poilievre. And of course, I work intimately on this file. I am a registered federal lobbyist working in Ottawa. I work with a variety of MPs and senators working on this issue. But Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, confirmed last night in front of 3,500 conservatives watching and an entire nation listening at home that he will reverse the Liberal gun bans and instead use that money to invest in securing our border to prevent the smuggling of illicit guns that, of course, fuel the crime and violence we see from coast to coast.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even in countries where firearms are totally banned, they're still firearms.
Yeah, of course.
So it's something that really it can't really be eradicated.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really big job, and there are things that we could be doing. I mean, I think all of us here can agree. We all want to safer Canada.
Of course.
The Canadian gun lobby is in some dark, NRA type, force that they make us out to be. We're moms and parents.
Well,
and
I think,
grandparents.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but Canadian culture and American culture, we're different. We
Yes.
have a common language, but we're very different. And I don't think that gets across a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, we often, I think the anti-gun segment of Canada, the lobbies and the politicians, they often try and boogeyman us with U.S. scare tactics and, the NRA and this kind of rhetoric. But at the end of the day, I think Canadians know, you and I know, and I think most rational people know, it isn't hunters or licensed sports shooters or collectors running around the streets of Toronto shooting each other up. It's a ridiculous notion to even suggest it. And I don't think anyone's actually buying it.
Well, I spent 35 years in law enforcement, and based on my experience, I can tell you, no, those are not the people that we usually are looking for.
Yeah, we actually just put out a little clip video on social media where we collected testimony from a variety of different law enforcement sources. They had the Canadian Association for Chiefs of Police. We had the Toronto Police Chief, Edmonton Police Chief, Regina Police Chief, Ottawa Police Chief, all of these law enforcement professionals and experts. And every single one of them was saying the same thing. The focus needs to be on prevention, the prevention of smuggled guns, intervention for at-risk youth, and then, of course, punishment. We need bail reform to keep these repeat violent offenders in prison. These gun bans, they all said it, aren't going to do anything. And yet the Liberals seem to want to go full steam ahead with them. So that's our job, is to hold their feet to the fire, expose that their failure at public safety. And with the rise in violent crime across the country, their failed record speaks for itself.
So just in closing, say I'm a firearms owner, how do I help you move your cause forward, which would help me?
The best thing you can do to help out, of course, is to join the CCFR.
Right.
I'm going to use a shameless plug here.
No, please do.
Get you to go to ccfr.ca.
Yep.
It's $40 for an entire year, and it comes with a really great personal liability insurance program. At the same time, support politicians that are willing and open to discussing our topic in a rational, fact-based manner. Write your politicians. I know some of us who are very involved in advocacy get tired of constantly writing letters, but it does make a huge difference. Even if they're never read, I want you to think about the visual of coming into your office after the summer break, and you try to open the door to get in, and there's bins of mail everywhere on the same topic. That's how they take notice. It doesn't matter if they read them or not. It just matters that they show up.
Right. So, again, if we can contact your organization, if we have any questions about, our rights as firearms owners and, what to do, in cases of somebody passes away in the family and those guns are registered to that individual.
Yes.
How does the family carry forward the estate?
Yeah, we've got firearms owners contacting us all the time about a variety of problems like that. Even recently with some of the wildfires out west or in Quebec, we had people reaching out to us because they had to evacuate their homes.
Right.
And what do? Do you leave all your guns in the house and leave? It's a very difficult decision to make.
Of course.
And at the end of the day, it's got to be safety first. If you've been ordered to evacuate, you need to go. So we helped arrange safe temporary storage at retailers and ranges that were licensed for it. So gun owners could take their guns, drop them off there. Some of them even offered free camping. You can stay there away from the wildfires until it's safe to return home. If any gun owner has any problem like that, or any kind of question, they can send us an email at info@ccfr.ca, and they will hear from a real person who's going to be there to help them.
Well, Tracy, I want to thank you very much. I know you're a very busy person. A lot of great information there. And please reach out to Tracy, CCFR, if you have any questions. And it's Jimmy Bremner and Tracy, and we're out.
G'day, here we are at TACCOM. I'm Carl with the CTOA, and we're here at Dick's Duff, and we have Pearson.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey Pearson, I understand you do organic beef jerky.
Oh yeah, yep, so here at Dick Duffs, we're all about organic beef jerky here. Right here, you got probably the best snack you ever want in your cooler. You're going hunting, you're going fishing, you want some Dick Duffs with you. We got no nitrates in here, no GMOs, there's no BS, okay? Now this is what you want. Now we got 3 flavors. We got our Dijon mustard, we got our rosemary red wine, and then we also got our sweet chipotle. Something for everybody here. Knock it off. Once you're done with those 3 bags, you're gonna want 2 more things. Grab your beef sticks, and you're good to go.
How long have you been in business?
So Dick Duffs, we're a pretty new company. We got 2019, that's when we really kicked off there. Started off in Perry Sound, and now we're out in Newmarket, and that's where we're making all our beef.
And where does the beef come from?
So the beef comes from Alberta. That is some grade A beef, and that is also free range, organic. Everything in there is all good.
Thank you very much, Pearson.
Thanks for your time, Carl.
Take care.
Hey, it's Jimmy Bremner, CTOA, Copcast, and we're coming to you from TACCOM 2023. And I have Paul with me from Motis Fire Rescue. And some of you might have seen my urban trail where I broke out the what I'm calling the active shooter breaching kit. And it's really remarkable because, as I said, I was a master breacher, and we didn't usually have a lot of trouble with big things. It was the small things like industrial doors and things like that. So Paul, can you tell us a little bit about that kit and what inspired you to put that together?
Yeah, so we've been pretty heavy in the fire world for the last 7 years, and then started making more entry tools, got a lot of interest from police departments, tactical teams, and then that kit specifically, just small tools for gaining access passively, essentially. So it's you're not using force, you can just go in quick and easy.
Well, that's the great thing, because I don't have to break a lobby door, or a window, because again, that's a safety risk for me and my guys. But your tools, they go around.
Yes,
things. They go
around the
through,
doors, in double doors. A lot of our videos, they'll get a lot of views just because it's interesting to see how easy it is to get through some of these doors.
And it's so lightweight.
Lightweight, easy to carry. Yep.
Yeah, I
So
mean, the
got
only
MOLLE pouches. And
the only thing I added to my kit was a really good Benchmade knife for prying. But other than that, it's such a complete kit. Again, specifically for industrial, like the location we're in today. You could be in and out of here, quick, fast, in a hurry. It's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, and shove knives and things like that. Our J tool is quite popular in double doors. So you just reach in, turn 90 degrees, and you can push
I've been
that,
playing with the kit at my office.
Oh, nice.
Going around the
How many
office.
doors you get in?
Yeah. So it's great stuff.
And what's funny with them too is often people be like, oh, it doesn't work if the door is properly installed. But it's crazy how many doors aren't properly installed. And so
probably most of them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Like everyone we try always works. And then every once in a while you get a door that doesn't work. And it's like, oh, probably properly installed. But kind of crazy education wise for people to look at.
Something for Mike Holmes to look into.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So what else are you up to?
So we've got a bunch of new things in the works. So tactical vests we're working on. We got some pants in the works, tactical pants. A couple more breaching tools, so more actual like heavy breaching tools, breaking lock cylinders out.
Like
that's
a Halligan type bar or something?
Not a Halligan. We've looked at it.
That's probably branded.
But yeah, and there's a lot of Halligan you got to forge, and it's the machinery and equipment and cost is quite there, and a lot of people have it. So
and you're Canadian.
Yes, yeah, we're made here. We manufacture almost all the products here with either aluminum or either U.S. steel, and then
very nice.
Make it here and
very
sell it
nice.
all over.
Okay, well, again, at CTOA, we're happy to represent Motis Fire Rescue. If, as I said, we can put together a little course for you if that's something that you or your team wants to see this kit. But I think it's such a great thing, especially talking active shooter. It's so lightweight. It comes almost like in an IFAC pouch that you can either put on your vest or on your leg, and like you wouldn't even notice. Like there's no weight to it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's an amazing piece of kit, and you can reach Paul at
Motis
Fire Rescue, or you can come through CTOA, and we'll get you to Paul.
Yep.
So thanks very much, Paul.
Perfect.
Thanks for coming
thanks
out.
for having me.
Jimmy Bremner, CTOA. I'm out. Hey guys, it's Jimmy Bremner from CTOA Copcast, and today I'm at TACCOM 2023, and I have Rick and Blair with me from NFA, and we're going to talk a little bit about C-21 and some other legislation. Again, I spent 35 years in law enforcement, and quite frankly, the legislation, it's hard for me to keep up with. So maybe, Rick, you can take it away and tell us where we are right now. And
yeah, that's an understatement. That legislation is hard to keep up with. It seems to be changing every day, depending on what Liberals pull out of their hat. We've been really inundated with legislation since the original order of May 2020 order in council, where they banned the 1,500, now 1,800 types of firearms. And you know, it progressed. It went to Bill C-71, where they put controls on the movement of firearms, capacities, and the latest and their latest and greatest hit is Bill C-21, which basically banned all movement of handguns in Canada, and also the importation and indirectly the exportation of firearms in Canada.
Right. But I think what people are missing is that there's so many ancillary industries and business that, you know, you buy a firearm, but then you need a case, then you need an optic, and maybe you need a sling. So it affects all different businesses, not just the firearms business.
Absolutely. I'll just let Blair touch on that, but the tax revenue that the government is losing just by implementing this legislation is ridiculous. Like you said, there's cases, there's magazine makers, there's people that make parts for these firearms, there's people that make slings for these firearms. It's and the mom and pop businesses across Canada that their livelihood depends on selling this stuff besides firearms.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is this government does not care about this industry. This government has an active agenda to destroy this industry, okay? There's just no other way to put it, okay? It's a very determined effort. It's a political, cultural, and an economic war on the Canadian right and cultural tradition of firearms ownership. We're here at TACCOM 2023. They do not want shows like this to take place in Canada. They are trying to socially re-engineer this country, so where firearms are not commonly owned or used, and this interferes with it, okay? So when people talk about what about the economic impacts of what they're doing with legislation and regulation in this country, it's deliberate, okay? This is not, some, misguided effort. It's very much guided and is very much directed at ending this.
But if you look at Canada, I mean, just the geography, in the far north, people are dependent on firearms. That's for protection, for sustenance, for vermin, on farms and things like that.
That's a great point. And you're right. People in the northern parts of the country are dependent on firearms, but also there's people in the southern part of the country, all over Canada actually, that own personal property that they bought and paid for. They paid taxes on it, and now the government wants to seize it. There's a lot of people that collect firearms just like somebody collects plates. There's people that families that go to ranges on the weekend as a family thing, pack a lunch, go to the range, fire some guns, in a safe manner, teach your, pass the traditions down. Myself, my grandfather and my father were both gun collectors, and I've got passed down a lot of those guns were passed down to me. Now, the Liberals want to take some of those firearms away from me, and I'm not really happy about that.
I can see that. So let me ask you this. A lot of people, their parents are elderly, they pass away. What are happening to the firearms that they owned? Is that problematic? I mean, some of them obviously can't be handed down.
I'll let Blair touch on that. Blair is our specialist on this, and this is the calls we're inundated with every day.
Yeah, very much so, and especially with the recent legislation, the OIC, and the implications of Bill C-21. And Canada's National Firearms Association takes these calls every day because people cannot get the information they need in a timely manner from the firearms program, okay? Right. And certainly not in terms that they can actually understand. So we assist Canadians from coast to coast to coast with questions in regards to estate firearms. How do I get this process started? What do I do? And I have to tell you, it has been really, really complicated by government actions over the last few years, where at one point in time, and certainly before Justin Trudeau was elected, there was a fairly straightforward process. Yes, it was convoluted. Yes, it was confusing, but we had a process in place where people could lawfully deal with firearms in estates. It really got complicated when some of those firearms now are no longer transferable. And what we're finding is, especially people with large gun collections, handgun collections, they just have no other opportunity for transfer, and they have no other alternative in some cases, way too many cases, than just to call the police and say, just come take them, because the process for dealing with those firearms in estates and the potential for transfer or even export are so limited that you're not going to realize the full profit or potential for the gun. So estates are complicated. Okay.
Right.
And a lot of people just don't want to deal with it, especially when it comes to firearms. And that's when they're turned into police. And that's a real crime, because these people should be able to realize, if they don't want to keep the firearms, they should be able to realize the full profit potential for that. Okay. And those firearms should be transferred to somebody who wants them, who can enjoy them.
Yeah. So all good information. That reminded me of the buyback. Like what happened to the government was going to buy back firearms, but it's such a costly program that you couldn't afford even to administer the program.
Yes.
It's crazy costly before we even start buying back firearms.
Well, I mean, that was the government's intention with the May 2020 OIC. We'll ban these firearms, we'll build a program to collect them, confiscate them, and then we'll pay off the owners. Maybe. Well, this week we'll pay them off. Next week, no, we'll just take them. Oh, there's some heat. Well, we'll pay them off this week. No, it's never been constructed. Okay. The government has had a lot of difficulty trying to find a way to make this happen, and they have not arrived at a plan yet. Okay. So although the amnesty for possession of May 2020 OIC firearms ends next month, we believe that they will have to extend that amnesty again, just simply because they don't have the budget, they don't have the logistics to do anything about this right now. And frankly, I don't even think it's a priority for them. Okay, they've got bigger problems.
Well, the country does have a lot of larger issues.
Yeah, I'd just like to add something to that too. And this brings Bill C-21 into play. The Liberals tried to attach the original order in council as an amendment to Bill C-21. By doing that, they took the buyback out of play. They basically were trying to backdoor this amendment so that none of the firearms would be listed on C-21, and there was no guaranteed buyback or no mention of a buyback. That was one of their ploys to get rid of firearms. Fortunately, it didn't work. Caused quite an uprising across Canada amongst firearms owners and non-firearms owners alike. We've got a lot of members that aren't firearms owners. They're personal property people, and that really caused quite a stir. And they actually had to pull back on that amendment. So that's a Liberal tactic. Like take your personal property and not pay for it.
Right. So let me ask you this, just in closing. I'm a firearms owner and I want to join NFA. Like what are the benefits? How do I do it?
One of the benefits, this is Canada's oldest firearms advocacy organization. We got started back in the late 1970s, where if you talked about gun rights, or if you said that, hey, the government may have ulterior motives here, it's not just public safety, they want your guns, you were kind of looked at as a bit of a kook and maybe someone who shouldn't be heated, but it's come full circle now. People understand their rights and freedoms are under attack, and joining organizations like ours, we have grown so much over the last couple of years because of government's actions. And it's too bad it takes, something like that to get Canadians interested in defending it. But hey, if you want to wake up, we'll help you wake up. If you want to join NFA, you can do it online, www.nfa.ca. All the information about membership is there. You can do it online, call our office. You can do it here at TACCOM 2023 today. We're set up down at the other end of the hall. Come see our booth. We'll sign you up. But it's very much a strength in numbers proposition. Everybody looks at the United States and the power of the National Rifle Association with 4 million members. And that's a lot of votes. That's a lot of power, and we need to do the same thing in Canada. I mean, I know a lot of Canadians in the past have resisted that, saying, no, we'll just, have cooperative compromise. Well, there's no compromise anymore, okay, because the Liberals are not interested in that. The civil disarmament lobby is not interested in that. So it's just not possible. You got to stand up and fight.
Right now, Canada's National Firearms Association is dug in deep. We've got a full-time lobbyist in Ottawa, an in-house lobbyist. We're fighting every day for your rights, and we're not going to give up. The people out there, the freedom-loving people, need to know that we're not going to give up. We're going to fight this right to the very end. So if you can, please join our organization or join an organization. We need to keep up the fight. If we give up, our personal property is going to be gone.
Well, thanks, Rick and Blair, very much for your time today. And I'll send as many people over to the booth as I can.
We appreciate that. And thank you for having us. We appreciate.
Thank you. Yep. Jimmy Bremner, CTOA, Copcast. I'm out.